Friends, thank you for watching my channel. I just want to remind you, if you need wallpaper, go to www.wallpaperboulevard.com. Tell them Spencer sent you. In fact, if you use my hashtag, Spencer Colgan is wallpaper, they'll be sure to give you a 10% off at your checkout. No matter how much you order, they have a wide selection of wallpaper. Check it out. Tell them I said hello. This is Spencer, and welcome back to my wallpaper and painting video series on YouTube. So the video started off with, I'm just going to show them how to cut. Well, as I was doing the wall, I said, let me take this opportunity to show the good folks on YouTube how I roll a wall, so I can share any skills that I may have with you that you may not have. Tell me what you think about them. Tell me how you do it, okay? We're dealing with a challenging product because it's very dark paint. If you make a hiccup on these walls, you'll see it. There's so many things to talk about, and I've covered most of the ones that come to mind. Another one just came to mind. For example, when you're rolling a wall downward, and if you should not be square with the wall, and you're rolling down, and your roller does not stay straight like this, but then it goes like this, the moment at which it went like this is going to cause flashing, because you interrupted the flow of paint, just like a tire on a roadway, right? Did you ever get a new driveway and somebody comes into your driveway, pulls out and starts turning the wheels as they're still, as the vehicle is still? Well, you know that when those tires turn on nice concrete, you're going to leave more rubber than if you were to simply back up straight and turn as the vehicle is moving. It came to mind, I wanted to cover it in this video, but I didn't. So if your roller's going up and down, let me try to show you with a roller, okay? So if I'm rolling this way, usually it's on a pole and it goes going straight, and then because you backed up and you tripped over something, it kind of goes like this and you resume straight. Well, the point at which it went like this, you should roll it over. Just go up and roll all the way back down. What I'm going to cover in this video is cutting the wall at the ceiling. It's called cutting. A lot of folks say, well, what's that? Okay, so it's called cutting. And that is the line that you get when you separate your wall from your ceiling or your wall from your trim. So I'm going to cover that in detail and discuss environmental factors that might affect the beauty of your cut work. And then I'm going to get right into how to roll a wall and get beautiful results from high quality paint and high quality tools. I'm using a high quality paint. This just happens to be a product sold in the continental USA. It's Emerald from Sherwin-Williams. There's other quality paint on the market, and I suggest that you use something high quality. I'm using a high quality brush. It's an angle sash brush from Purdy, and I use a new brush every paint job because I want a soft applicator. The applicator, the roller that I'm using is a 1/2-inch nap Purdy Ultra. Sometimes when you're cutting, okay, we're at the top of a wall here, you'll see that although from a distance your corners may look crisp, sharp, especially when you're dealing with a dark color against a white ceiling. I decided to talk about curved corners. You see, that's not a corner. It's rounded. And so what a painter has to ultimately do is paint a straight line, at least until about right here. See that? The rest of it isn't too sharp. Okay? And so I think a little knowledge, just a little, and the right brush could make this look straight. So, with a cut bucket, dipping into your cut bucket on the ladder, holding the brush nice and steady. You got to get your comfort zone with the brush. Mine is holding the barrel. Okay? And getting most of the paint off of the filaments and not trying to do the line all in the same coat. In other words, you don't want to do this in just one coat. Your brush will skip. I'm painting up against a flat surface. That surface is very porous and is causing drag. You know what drag is on a plane, right? Drag is simply resistance. So we can see already I have a dip there, right? Well, if you look close, I still haven't gone high enough. So I'm 10 feet up in the air. I don't want to move the ladder. I simply turn the brush around from here to now here. And I'm going to work on the left side of my body. I'm not breathing. And I'm not joking either. If you breathe, you'll blow it. I mean, look at that rounded corner, right? So, okay, let's get most of that paint off. Okay, you know why? You don't want it on the ceiling, and that'll happen if you do that. You will find your comfort zone, how far extended your arm is, how you hold your brush. You see how I'm holding it differently now? There's no one set way, but the most comfortable way is your way, and you got to do that. So I'd like to identify some bad practices. So you know we just did this over here, right? If I try to make this right now, look what happens to my brush. I'm feeling so much drag. Why? The paint is setting up and it's telling me, what are you doing? I'm trying to dry here. Why are you dragging new paint across here? Leave me alone. So that's what we're going to do. Depending on the quality of your paint, you know, this paint it sticks to you and it's very hard to get off your skin. So rather than try to do this while the paint is wet, we'll come back after a half an hour and then we'll perfect our line. That's an important lesson here. As we move closer to the curvature that I was talking about, you can see it really, really well here. I would say the stiffer the brush is, the straighter the line you'll get. So that's our first coat. Now if you look close, you can see we have to go over this and make it straight. And so I just wanted to show you that it's not perfect. It's far from perfect yet. Okay, coming back for the second go round. On the second coat, your brush moves a lot more freely. There's no drag. Why is there no drag? Because the pores of the builder's paint underneath the blue is filled with paint. So there's no drag. Now let's talk about environmental factors. What is the best environment to do this perfectly? Number one, you have to be comfortable. What would make you uncomfortable? I'm going to tell you one thing, your ladder. If your ladder is too short, don't do this. You're wasting your time. I don't want to sound like, a wise guy. But if your ladder is too short and you're stretching, you're overextending yourself, your body is going to shake. And that's why you'd be wasting your time. Why waste time, right? Okay, 2. Let's talk about number 2. 2 is you want to be drawing from a cut bucket. And you want to tap, dip, and tap the side. Because you don't want to pull the paint off of your brush. 3. If you can't finish the wall, without stopping for a text message or a phone call, you're not going to get the best results. If you look, That's a fresh wet. That's a setting up wet. I just brushed onto wet. And here's where I want to continue. So my paint needs to be wet when I join one batch to another. Because if it's not, I'm going to make a lot of shadows. I need to keep a wet edge. You see that's wet? I need to get to this part while this is still wet. 4. You see that vent? I don't want to leave where I'm standing. You know why? It's 95 degrees out. And that vent is blowing cool air on me. Not only me, but on the wall that's a foot away from me right here. And it feels good. So the problem is if it's blowing too much on the paint, it's going to dry it quickly. So ideally, I would direct that air. I would put a piece of masking paper over that fan if you're new at this. Otherwise, work quickly so that the air doesn't dry your wet edge. Okay, what are we up to, number 5? I think so. In relation to the last one, your room cannot be humid, okay? It can't be humid. That's fighting against a good finish. Okay. All right. The room can't be too dry. You might be painting in a place like Scottsdale, Arizona, where the air is really dry, right? And that'll affect your cut. You might be saying, Spencer, come on. If you just overlooked what I just said and you didn't get the best results, it might be one of the factors I just mentioned. What do you think so far? Now, what else? What else do we want to discuss? That is really feeling good. Another issue, not necessarily environmental. You want to do 2 coats. Don't leave that there. That's not professional. You need 2 coats. I don't like when I see paint that says covers in 1 coat. I would add covers poorly in 1 coat. It does cover poorly. You'll go on other painters' YouTube channels and you'll see that they do this on a fast forwarded frame because they don't want to lose your attention. It's not good for business. But I'm not going to do that because I don't care if I don't get the business from the YouTube. I don't care. What I want you to do is learn First of all, how difficult it is. Showing you how great I am and how not so great you are is not a great teaching tool. So if it takes me this much time, you should feel good that if it takes you longer, the only difference between me and you is the time it takes. This is not easy to do this right. But if you have normal intelligence, average, and your hand works, you can do this. Well, what do I say intelligence? You got to remember the air, the ladder, all these factors, you know, you gotta be smart about it. And then you can do this. Okay? You can do it. After you have your wall cut against the ceiling and you are happy with the result, you want to take the roller that you're using for the wall and get as close to the top as you can. The reason you want to do that is so that the paint here that stipple effect that you're going to have on the wall will be the same near the ceiling, so that when you're standing here and you're looking across your beautifully new painted room, you don't see a halo effect whereby light is reflected differently on stipple as compared to how light is reflected on brush. Isn't that the truth? Do you see why your color looks different at the top? If you're brushing it at the top and rolling it underneath. Let me show you. So if I use my brush at the top and then I use my roller, do you think you'll be able to tell the difference? Okay, so don't do that, okay? That's why we roll the wall rather than brush the wall, and we bring our roller as close to the top as possible. And when we roll it, we bring that roller as close as possible, which is usually about 1.5 inches for the average diameter of roller, so that we don't hit the ceiling. Now, we have a bed in the way. It weighs a ton. When you roll, you don't want to stop anywhere. You'll see that in most cases. But what happens if you don't have enough room to even use a small extension pole? What happens? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to make sure this only happens behind the bed, first of all. You're going to roll up just past the wet point. See that? Lift off. Look. Gently touch base. Touch down. Real easy. Watch. We'll do it again. Go up. Go right over that point. Lift up. I'm barely touching the wall. You're feathering in the juncture. We'll do it again. Gently touch it. Go back down. Lift up. You're feathering the junction. Once again, we're going to use our roller to go up and vertically roll our horizontally applied paint Okay, I'm doing vertical now. I'm going up. Okay, right? We want it all to be in the same direction. Now, that's one column. 50%, I'm going over some of my last column every time I roll. I go all the way up as far as I can go. Okay? And I'm going to lay out that horizontally applied paint so it's vertical. So the angle at which the light reflects is the same, vertical. Okay, I continue with the same idea. I'm gonna lift off, come back down. Okay, nice and easy. This is very important that we do this right to get the right look. Lift off, come back down. I lift off at the junction. I don't lift off, I'm not looking to lift off right there. I go over it, I just go over it lightly. Less pressure, lift off. Come back down, light pressure, press hard. Okay, do it again. Lightest. Touch again, go back up, lightest. Touch down lightly. Common sense, right? Okay, here's horizontal. Okay, if I don't roll all the way up and cover my horizontally placed paint, here's what it's gonna look like. Just so you remember, this was horizontally placed and this was vertically placed. See why we don't do that? That's gonna dry like that. So when you do horizontal, you come up, you go as close to that ceiling as possible, and you make it all in the same direction. Vertical. So that when it dries, you don't see paint going in this direction and that. We go all the way up as high as we can go on this wall. And I like to let the roller come down, barely pressing against the wall, letting the roller, the weight of the roller, do the pressing on the wall. I want to show you something in this segment. If your roller is thinner here and fatter here, it means you're going to have marks on the wall. I try to press it. Let me show you what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make this flatter here than here. And what it means is this. It'll disproportionately spread your paint. So your roller should look like this when it comes off of the wall. show you what I mean. You shouldn't choke the roller. It should be somewhat fluffy. If you press too hard, it probably means you need more paint on the roller. This roller needs to be dipped, but it's nice and evenly worn. Meaning, after I roll the wall, it's nice and even. If it's flatter in one area, you're tweaking your wrist and you're going to pay for it with lines, not lap marks, but lines. Okay, let's see how we did. After we paint, we always have the adjacent color ready to touch up if necessary. And for something like this, I use a 1.5 inch brush, or smaller if necessary. Okay. Yesterday I was mentioning to my brother who's painting his home the color of this product. I said, it's like the New York Yankees blue. I said, I love the color. He said, that's dark. You know what? I love it. I love the color. How about you? That's my finished product. I love the quality. You can see the luster of that paint. Look right above the lamp. Look at the color just coming back at you without blemish. It's just a universal reflection of light. That's what I love about this. There's our cut line on which we worked in the beginning of the video. We touched up our trim, okay? And that's our finished product. What do you guys do to achieve this finish? Share it with us on YouTube. Thank you for watching.